I've been working in the industry for around 33 years. And I've been a trainer and assessor for around 22 years. I've worked within school age care, in out of schools and vacation care. I've worked in early childhood, in long day care and occasional care, and I've had experience in family day care, nannying and a range of other services. As a trainer, I've worked in the TAFE system, worked in private and public RTOs, so really varied and diverse type of experience. So I've been working for One World for Children for around 13 years. Previous to One World for Children, I've been developing resources for a while. I've worked sessionally and with a range of different RTOs. And with One World for Children, I've been developing my role into the development of resources, but I'm also responsible for compliance, and I'm the document and data controller, so developing our policies and forms, and I also do some staff mentoring. Resources are really important to learners and trainer assessors. They need to be clear, they need to make sense of the training package, and they need to provide all the information that a learner needs to go into a service and be confident in what they need to do. So it's about having that entry-level knowledge provided for them, but then having the ability to build on that. So it's really needing to excite them into the industry and help them to become motivated. We've had a real good look at how the resources were and talked to our team here and a few other teams. And we've thought about how the resources might be more useful to learners and trainer assessors. We're aware that lots of people are working in a class-based service, or thinking about, you know, we need to have topics together, reduce repetition, get some points in there that aren't just about assessment, but are more about understanding what you're talking about, what you're learning, and having some checks. So, you know, did I understand that? What have I read? What does that mean to me? And then moving into sort of breaking down assessment and then building on that. So I suppose the resources become more of a learning tool rather than just a collection of information. I think that's probably the main direction we're taking in building that resource. It's really focused on the learner and the trainer's needs rather than focused on that auditing sort of aspect, and focused on exactly how the training package is saying everything should be broken down. So we're looking also sort of like an ecological approach with putting the child in the centre of the approach and then building out from there. So thinking about what do you need to know before you do this, you know, who's important to this before you complete this assessment or task, what is this unit about, what's the foundation, and then building out from there as to what you actually need to do, and using the checks right through to support that. Being clear, being sequential, knowing where to find stuff, that's really important. Using the resources, there's less need for trainers to be doing heaps of research. Obviously you need to know the content, but the context is provided for you, so the direction is already there. There's a variety of assessment tools. We have within the resource lots of practice tasks, and our practice tasks have become little quiz activities, and they're really focused on the learner just looking at the things that they've read, and then just having a really quick check, did I get that? So it's not about assessment as such, it's about just having that, I suppose it's a comprehension test and checkup. Then we have learning checkpoints at the end of each topic, and those learning checkpoints, we're providing a case study or an in-service approach, giving them some idea of how that might apply, and then getting them to create, think about that scenario. What does that mean in a real situation? How would they see that happen? The learning checkpoints we sometimes use with learners who have difficulties, so learning difficulties or English as a second language, and we build them up with those formative assessments. That breaks things down for them rather than having this large assessment they need to coordinate themselves or deal with, which can be pretty scary for some people. So those learning checkpoints are a great way to break that down for people. For our learners, we ask them to complete those learning checkpoints as a way to understand the direction they're going and to understand the industry more. Following that, we have a final assessment, and that's broken into 4 different parts. So initially there's some questions that the learner can complete just by using the information that they've gained in the resource. Then we have projects, and the projects are things that they need to go away and think about. They need to collect information, they need to research, or they may even need to be in touch with children or other staff members to gather information. Following that, we've got observation areas. So those are the things that assessors need to see happen in the workplace with children, with other staff, with families, and those are the things that are going to be assessed in that way. There is a workplace log where the trainer assessor can list those things and check off how that works. Also, responding to the number of hours that need to be completed in the workplace, and how many times an assessment needs to be assessed in the workplace, so providing for all those sorts of things. Finally, as part of that, we have the third-party report, and that's very similar to the observation record. So there'll be a log, and there's that set of things that the third-party person in the industry needs to be able to respond to in relation to that learner. For workplace-based training, the resources are providing the learner with the information they need in a good sequential way so that they can easily approach that. For people that are learning in a classroom, it means that they also have that opportunity to have the trainer assessor look at what topic they want to approach, and then it's all together in a topic area. So in our previous resources, it was a little bit choppy, so following the auditing or training package direction, it means that sometimes a classroom trainer would be wanting to teach a topic, and they would go, from page 15 to page 65 and then on to page 53 to get all the information they need. But now they'll be able to go straight to a topic, all the information's there, and it's focused on learning for that area. The other aspect of the way we've developed is that it would be really useful for the flipped classroom. So being able to use the topics and using then the practice tasks and the learning checkpoints to come back to and use those in a flipped classroom to make sure that the learner is gathering the information that they need prior to going into the industry. I think a lot of classes are turning to clustering of units too. And although we provide all our resources and materials in a unit by unit base, I think by combining into topics, it's really easy for trainers to cluster units as they like. The similar information is going to come across in different unit resources, but they will be able to be brought together. And I think that way you'll be able to see where information crosses over compared to where it might seem like the same information in different units, but it might be, the context might be a little bit different. So that'll be really obvious in the way that the resource has been written. Our team's made up of people from a range of different backgrounds, and that's given us a real eclectic look at the industry when we're developing the resources. We have Lisa, who is primary school trained and also early childhood trained, and she works in our long daycare service, and she's able to give us that real industry look at how things are happening out there. Lisa is a big part of our family grouping service, so she's really passionate about that. And we also have a big art program at One World for Children, so Lisa's a big part of that as well. So she's had a big contribution in relation to the creative development units. Another member of our writing team is Marg, and Marg works for us at One World for Children as a trainer assessor. Marg holds a Bachelor of Early Childhood Studies, so she's had heaps of experience in the industry. She also works for us as a trainer within the workplace delivery. She also completes classroom delivery, and she's worked with the school-based apprenticeships and trainees. So she's had a vast experience of the different types of delivery, and that's been fabulous to bring together as well in our writing team, so we have that wide view. Whether our learners are in a classroom or they're in the workplace, they receive a resource for each unit, and they all receive the same assessment. Our trainers have particular skills in mentoring in the workplace, so our workplace visits aren't just about going out and sitting in a corner and assessing learners. We actually get involved in the day-to-day workings of the service that we're visiting. We demonstrate things to the students, we motivate the learner and follow the direction that the learner's going in at the time to assist them to understand the direction. And then obviously that's coupled with discussion after that helps the learner see why we were doing particular things. And that can be something that's simple or more complex, so depending on the learner's strategy. And that might also extend into motivating the learner further, so extending them into new areas and building on their skill and knowledge despite their level of learning and experience. In some resources that you're able to access, you've only got parts or everything's broken up, but this resource is really pulled together, sequential, organised, ready to go, clear, everything's there that you need. For each of the units, we have mapped the performance criteria, the performance evidence and the knowledge evidence, and we've used that mapping flexibly but robustly. One thing that we do is we recognise and take into account the workplace experience hours that are written in the unit, but we make it very clear to the learner that that's a guideline, and if we feel that they need more experience than that requirement, then we will encourage them and support them to get that extra experience. So we're not just looking at, okay, it's X amount of hours, that's all you need to do. We're happy to extend and to look at people individually and work with them in that way. I feel really excited for these resources and assessments. I feel like Aspire and One World have really come together and created something that we both really love and we both feel passionate about, and that's exciting.